Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone. This is Friday Night Contact, and I am here with one of my co-hosts tonight because the other one has decided that he's going to entertain a visitor. So, yes, it's me and Chris tonight from Cultivated Media, and we've got loads to talk about. Um, the poster for the new Scream movie has been released. It's actually a pretty decent poster, I have to say. We've also got some Avengers Secret War news. The Mandalorian returns. Star Trek Picard. New Faulty Towers in the works. Madonna called speculation about our appearance, ageism, and misogyny. We'll be talking about that and plenty of other things. But before that, let's see how my co-host is tonight. Chris, how are you, buddy?
Hey man, I'm sleepy.
Oh,
It's Friday.
we'll get through everything quick tonight because obviously it's been another busy week for everybody.
I have some commentary on things.
So
Some
so
things that I'm not too bothered about.
yeah,
Some I find hilarious, and some, well, one that is surprising. I'll wait to be canceled for that one.
yeah. Well, let's get straight into it, I suppose. And we'll start off with the stuff that we can get out of the way almost straight away. So let's have a look at the new poster for the new Scream movie. Now, I've made my thoughts pretty clear on this. I think if you're moving it away from the original location, you're gonna run into a spot of bother. I mean, to me, the new kind of Scream franchise, if that's what you want to call it, hasn't been really my cup of tea. Have to be honest. I prefer the original movies. That's just me. But I will say this Scream poster looks pretty impressive. So I'll throw it up. We were having some technical difficulties on Twitter earlier on with screen sharing. So hopefully I'll be able to share this. So this is the new Scream poster. Um, we'll get your thoughts on that, Chris.
I could say that this is a movie I have probably, almost certainly, no interest in seeing. I don't mind Jenna Ortega. She was in my favorite, well, one of my equally favorite films from last year, X. But honestly, when it comes to these Zoomer horror movies, I find them unwatchable. I find them completely unrelatable. And Scream should have ended. You can't do it without Nev Campbell. You can't do it in New York City. It's not the franchise. And every time I watch one of these Zoomer horror movies, it's just it's crap. So yeah, I will be giving this one a pass. I have no feelings on the poster because it's not Scream.
Yeah,
And
a lot of people have said that though. That's the big issue that they actually have. This doesn't feel like a Scream movie because obviously, if you don't have it in the original location and all of a sudden you move it, it's like when they did American Werewolf. Do you remember they had the original American Werewolf in London, and then a few years later or a few decades later, they did what was it, American Werewolf in Paris or something or whatever it was.
that was bad for different reasons.
Yeah,
It used to be where a movie could be just do something else, and it's just bad. And yeah, I remember seeing that the second one, and yeah, it was I had quite a good laugh at it. But yeah, I think this is something that I've said before. It used to be not liking movies or sequels because they were just bad or they were overly derivative. Um, but I'm moving further and further away from modern cinema. I think of all types, just because I find them. It's not even about the horror movie anymore. It's about delivering the quote message, and
yeah.
with each year it becomes more unwatchable. So I've just decided, you know what, I'm just not for me. Not going to watch it. No
Well,
interest in watching it.
Chris Persia brings up a good point. Here's a question Hollywood should have asked. Does there need to be another Scream movie? I given up on them after Scream 3.
No,
Now, I
there
did
should have
actually
been.
watch Scream 4. I have to admit I watched that. and it was a slightly different take on the franchise, but it had a lot of the original cast in it. So it's kind of passable as a Scream. But I do agree with you. It should have ended on 3. Personally, it should have ended on 3. That was like you can argue
It didn't
whether it
need
was
to
a
come back.
perfect. Yeah,
It didn't need to come back in 2012, or was it 2011? I think it was 2011, and it
yeah.
didn't need to come back in 21.
No, no. You're absolutely right. Well, here's another movie poster that just dropped. I don't know if people are actually looking forward to a Marvel Studios movie, but
No,
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania dropped a new poster, and Bill Murray is actually in this movie. Remember earlier on, was it late last year? An actress tried to have him cancelled by saying he said some inappropriate things or something. But Bill Murray is involved in this. But there's the new poster. I mean, the posters are pretty cool. I mean, but I've just noticed, there's a clear. I mean, you look at the poster and straight away, Marvel Studio. I mean, right, in China, let's just say that poster would not be allowed.
well, here's when they call it the MCU. It's hard to debate that when the original movie was called Ant-Man. Second one was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah,
Now it's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
yeah,
I'll say that again with this one. No, I will watch this one if it's free, if it's around, and I'm really bored and I have nothing else to do. But yeah, I'm pretty much done with the MCU.
yeah. And here's
I'm a
something
real
that.
downer this week.
No, it's it. Look. If there was any good news to report, we'd report it. But here, obviously, last week we covered the whole Wikipedia nonsense.
Oh, did you get blocked because the rest of us did?
Yeah, since then, yeah, I've been blocked. Since then, Wikipedia has gone on a blocking spree, and Bounding into Comics has done an article because, as you know, they have started to put pronouns on the Star Wars characters. All this comes up except the managed cookies. Yeah.
And for as a lesson for everybody, whenever that nonsense comes into anything, that's when you just walk away. Don't even fight with them anymore. Just like, yeah, whatever. And
Yeah.
sorry, it's not bigoted to say that. No, he's not. But that would be real Luke Skywalker. Remember, we have Jake Skywalker, who isn't Luke Skywalker. So they're two completely different characters. So Jake, maybe.
Anyway, I don't know what people's opinions are on this whole thing that Wikipedia is doing. We've seen Disney also kind of drive this stuff as well. It seems to be the main focus. See, I don't think Star Wars fans, or any fan for that matter, would really mind as much with all the agenda that they have if they were actually pushing good stories, and the characters were developed properly and all of this. But it's never done that way. So this whole labeling by Wikipedia of all of these Star Wars, and remember, they're fictional characters, by the way. They're fictional characters, so they're putting all this ideology onto fictional characters, and that would be the argument I would make. Why do you have to change already established fictional characters and change their pronouns and all of this? Why not create new characters? Well, you have tried that, and they've bombed.
It's all about the message, dude. All about the message.
Well, you're right. It is all about the message, and it's a goddamn shame, to be quite honest with you, because the Star Wars universe, a lot of fans think it is absolutely fantastic, and if done right, it'd be amazing. But yeah, well, it was. It's not now. No, I mean, I like the Mandalorian. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's the only Star Wars show, in my opinion, that's worth watching. But remember, I'm not a Star Wars fan traditionally, so you know that's based off the fact that you might just say a casual viewer. I have watched the original movie trilogy, obviously, and the prequel trilogy, and I
The
have
one good
watched
one
the
and the other two.
original. But yeah, I mean, I still prefer the original trilogy over the prequel trilogy. But I do like, I do like the last one in the prequel trilogy. I didn't like Attack of the Clowns. That was too long,
I was gonna say too crap.
and Borden is shit as well. Anyway, BBC. Oh, right. Okay. So, BBC have been praised over, well, they were praised years ago for their comedy and stuff. And we've had some of the most iconic shows on BBC, ranging from Only Fools and Horses, One Foot in the Grave. And of course, there's one show out there that the cancel mob tried to cancel, but it seems it's getting a revival.
Good
Faulty
lord.
Towers is coming back to our screens, and the Guardian newspaper, are not happy about it whatsoever. Now, why is the Guardian not happy? Well, let's give a bit of context here. John Cleese is against all of the woke culture and cancel culture and stuff. Now, forget about that. I'm just gonna, as a Faulty Towers fan, love that show. Right? I'm just gonna say this. Why ruin perfection? Back in the day, you decided to finish it and end it because you didn't want to
Oh, I'll
overdo
tell you
it.
what they're gonna do to it.
But now, well, he's no, but here's the thing. He's coming back, and his daughter is coming back, but apparently they're the ones that are writing this. So it's going to be written by him, so it's not going to
Oh,
have
that won't
BBC.
make it past the script
But
stage with
but but
modern
this is
BBC.
this is the thing. This is the thing. Do we really need a modern version of Faulty Towers? Now, I know, Chris, you're a fan just like I am.
One of
I
the best
mean,
sitcoms ever made.
is this a wrong move by John Cleese? Is this wrong? Is this, should he not? He shouldn't touch this, should he? He shouldn't go near it.
Well, I haven't really followed this one that closely. So John Cleese is going to be starring in it, so it's going to be a continuation of the original show.
They haven't given much details.
Okay, well, if he's in it, it would have to be a continuation. It couldn't really be a reboot, but it's also on the BBC. I don't see how those two things would jive together because John Cleese is a hero to those of us that hate this crap, and the BBC is one of the worst proponents of this crap. It's like mixing oil and water. I don't see any way this is. I just don't see it happening. Um, I don't see him bending knee, and I don't see the BBC letting it past the script stage. I think those it's I think it's just dead in the water.
See, the
If
journalist here that's wrote this article thinks that he's obviously going to use it against cancel culture. And
Yeah, the BBC won't allow that because
now,
that's a,
well, we don't know if it's going to be on the BBC. That's the thing. He might go to someone else now. Remember, there's loads of streaming platforms.
well, if it's not on the BBC, then that's a different story, and that would make more sense because I don't see the BBC ever greenlighting this.
Oh
Uh,
no!
the
Oh
BBC
no!
is a hateful organization. So,
Yeah.
so let's backtrack here. Okay, so the assumption is okay. So it's not going to be on the BBC. That's different. Although, I'll give two examples of shows that were formerly brilliant that have been brought back this year to disastrous results. One would be, and I think it was, I know I've talked about it recently. I think it was on this stream last week, but that 90s show, which had a bait and switch with the first episode and then turned into complete and utter garbage. The other one is, I don't know, Noel, did you watch Night Court in your neck of the woods?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so Night Court, it was a show that ran through the 80s to early 90s. I think ended in 92, I think, from what I remember. So 31 years ago. So the original show was awesome. And then they brought it back. Now, most of the original cast is dead. But they brought back John Larroquette as Dan Fielding, who was sort of like the slutty male prosecutor. But then, so Night Court was brilliant, very much of its time. But it was recently brought back on Peacock. I would not recommend anybody actually watch it. What I would recommend is you watch a 10-minute video that Red Letter Media put out last week as a rundown of what the new Night Court is. It is the least funny thing I have ever seen. I think it's trying to be woke, but it's just so bad that, so just watch the video. You'll see what I'm meaning. So that's an example of why you don't want things to come back. And in many cases, I do not want things to come back. I don't think John Cleese at his current age would have the stamina to pull it off at this point. I think Fawlty Towers is one of those things that's better left in the past. There is a certain window where these things make sense. And the window for Fawlty Towers, 90s, maybe early 2000s, where it might have made sense, but not now. So no, just I will say this is another hard no.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. It's like, it was one of those shows that, it was lightning in a bottle. You're not going to recapture that. And anything that you do after that is going to be a poor imitation of that. I mean, it could possibly work if he's still in the hotel. He's older, but like he's not, obviously, a lot of his stuff was physical, and that's why I think it worked along with his comedy. It's not going to be the same. It won't be, but I will check it out just to see, for a matter of interest, because it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table, because I think he is itching to hit back at all of this, but to use Fawlty Towers as the vehicle to do it,
he's too old.
I don't think it's
not meant to be. I don't need to be ageist, but it was a high energy role. I just I don't see how he could pull off Basil at this point.
Yeah, I agree. It is a physical role. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's get on to some Marvel news. And we've got Marvel Studios reportedly having very early talks of splitting Avengers Secret Wars into two parts. Now, again, I don't know if anybody is actually interested now in the MCU as it's known now. But if it does happen,
in case anybody wants to see us, that's why I'm keeping my streams to 2 hours. You got our chat up.
What?
No, just in the quarter. Yes. So if you see that's our chat from earlier, yes, I'm doing a maximum of 2 hour streams.
Oh, I didn't even mean to show that.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's our chat for our Friday night contact host hub. It's nothing interesting. It's all boring articles and telling me when they're available and stuff like that. So yeah, so Avengers Secret Wars. I don't know if anybody in the chat is even interested in this. I didn't even hear about this. Exposed. There's nothing to expose. It's all boring. I mean, if you've seen it, it's boring. Like,
we don't care less.
We don't have any interesting lives, And
who knows if that'll happen, because Disney could be bankrupt by then. So
yeah. Anyway, anybody in the chat looking forward to this, let me know. We'll move swiftly on. Again, as I said, some of this news we're we're gonna get through it real quickly, because we were worried about time and stuff like that. But we'll be fine. So obviously we've got that. We've covered that. We covered that. I'll play that later on. They'll be the last two little videos that I play because one is funny and one is absolutely disgusting. Okay, yeah, I want to talk about this because kind of I'm not sure about this, and I'll tell you why now in a minute. Right, so just cover that. Right, there we go. Just why is that doing that? That's Elon fix Twitter, you bleed moron. When I minimize something, it should stay minimized. Fucking asshole. Anyway, sorry, just having a go at Elon there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fantastic Four begins filming in early 2024. Apparently now, Chris is laughing, and I'm going to actually have a bit of a chuckle as well because how many times do you have to do failure before you realize that like enough is enough? I'm sorry, right? I know there are fans of Fantastic Four out there. I get it. But Fantastic Four has not worked on the big screen yet, in my opinion.
Could have. It could have 5 years ago. It had Marvel, the current MCU, before it decided to take a face plant into diarrhea poop. At 5 years ago, I think they could have done wonders with it now. But we now have the Fantastic Four in current MCU, which has nothing to do with the first three phases of the MCU. So let's just count. So we had the 94 movie, which eventually got a physical media release.
Yeah.
If you wanted to laugh. That was Roger Corman's produced one, which was literally just a rights holder. Then we had the 2000s, 2 movies. Passable if you're bored, kind of like a mid 2000s time capsule now. Then we had the Abomination in 2015, which is it's actually it's a curiosity because it is so bad on every level. And now I'm called this because it's the current MCU, because it's current Disney, current Marvel. This is dead on arrival. Begins filming in early 2024. Again, we'll see because Disney is slashing again. Disney's going to go bankrupt. They're just they've gone too far and they're screwed. So again, don't even care enough to laugh at this one. It'll be a pass.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat as well are kind of surprised. Jessica Alba one was all right. I mean, she was. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Jessica Alba is lovely to look at. So I mean, you know, and she's in. I'll give it a go.
It was the least terrible. It was those two films were the only. It was the only iteration of Fantastic Four under now defunct Fox that wasn't horrible. But the Corman and the 2015 films, they were just rights holders.
Chris
could have done better.
Question for you: if you were in charge of this, right? Fantastic Four. If I said to you, right here, Chris, right, we failed in numerous of times trying to get this in the big screen, but we believe you're the man to do it. What would you do? What would have to be done in your opinion for this to be a success? Because I don't think a Fantastic Four movie has been successful. I know some people are saying the Jessica Alba one is all right, but it's only all right. It's nothing spectacular. So what do you think they would need to do for a live action Fantastic Four movie to work?
Well, first thing is I would have it not happen now. But second, for an order for this to work, you have to fix the universe that it's attached to. So I would be scrapping the entire MCU debacle as it is right now. And I would fix that first before I even went into the Fantastic Four, because you're bringing it into a, what shall we say, a train wreck. The MCU, I always use I'm starting to use my my music analogy now with comic book films, where I said, and I said this last week with DC, any new reboot of any comic book franchise on film right now is like a hair metal band thinking it's going to break waves in the summer of 1991 and be the biggest thing ever. It's not. We're at the end of this trend, and this trend was old, but it also kind of killed itself. So I would say by the time Fantastic Four comes out, if it comes out, it would be like hair metal bands trying to recapture their stardom in 1994. It'll be like that. So it's dead on arrival. I won't be watching it. I have no interest. I've been saying that with I think everything tonight, man.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
well, here's the thing, Noel.
Well,
I'm very black pilled now.
but in fairness, though, if you look at the slates for both Marvel and DC, I mean, James Gunn announced some of the stuff that he was doing. I mean, it hasn't lit the world on fire right now. So I can kind of get it because everybody is kind of burnt out a little bit on these movies and TV shows. Maybe they do need a rest, but they're gonna continue to do them to death. Anyway, but let's move on to someone who has totally lost the plot. So the Grammys were on, as you know, and the Grammys, a lot of let's just say a lot of artists with a degree of dignity do not go on the Grammys anymore. The Grammys is let's just say the Grammys has become an absolute joke, especially a couple of years ago when The Weeknd didn't get any nominations off them, just like what they did with Michael Jackson. Yeah, the Grammys went ahead. So anyway,
I didn't know what happened until I saw the thing that I think we're covering next. I got my itinerary is in my head.
So as you know, the Grammys caused a bit of a stir when it was on because some of the celebrities. So Harry Styles apparently has been accused of queer baiting.
Who?
Harry Styles. He used to be in that big band One Direction. They were famous
after my time. So I took a list. I have no idea who 90% of the people at the Grammys are now, and I don't care. And I'm assuming it's mostly garbage.
Yeah, you had Sam Smith dressed as a devil, did a performance of the devil, and Christians in America were asking why are we always being mocked. So he's getting a bit of stick over that. But I think the biggest controversy and the biggest stir at the Grammys was Madonna's appearance. It's safe to say, as I said on my last stream, that Madonna is struggling with growing old. Now she has come out with a load of accusations. She has said that that they used a weird camera lens to make her look completely different to what she was. Now she's blaming ageism and misogyny. The problem with Madonna is this, right? Madonna was a beautiful looking woman grown up, right? We all followed Madonna. Madonna is an icon, right? No matter what you think of her now, she is an icon. She has remained relevant over these years because she has a way of reinventing herself. This new reinvention, though, ties down with the fact that Madonna, unfortunately, is one of those people. We've seen it with a lot of celebrities. They struggle with growing old gracefully. And instead of accepting that she has a problem with the fact that she's grown old, that she can't grow old gracefully, she's attacking everybody else. So this is what Madonna looked like at her appearance on the Grammys. And there's other photographs where she looks even worse than that, right? So people were speculating on her, obviously, on her appearance, and of course she doesn't like it, and now she's come out and she's saying that we're all a bunch of ageist twats and we shouldn't be commenting on her looks. But she's clearly struggling and has issues with the fact that she refuses to grow old. She's got a lot of plastic surgery, and look, she mightn't see it, and that's fair enough. She sees someone else when she looks in the mirror, but to the rest of us, we are kind of worried. You know, some people will be saying it out of malice, but I am a Madonna fan. I think she's great. You know, music wise, I think she's always been ahead of her time. But
Eh,
this is a problem. She's in her 60s and she's trying to look like she's 20 all over again. I just find the whole thing sad, but I find it actually despicable that the media are actually facilitating this by accusing people of, you know, ageism and misogyny. Yes, she said it, but they're reporting on it rather than reporting the truth that, you know, celebrities like herself and Simon Cowell and all of these other celebrities that are on TV and are in the public eye get work done, you know, refuse to grow old gracefully. And then when people are shocked about their appearance, then they lash out like Madonna. Have you any comments on this story,
oh yeah,
Chris?
oh yeah.
Go for
Okay,
it.
so and I am a fan of early Madonna music,
Same, same.
specifically 1984 to 1998,
Yeah,
and she was the queen of reinvention. But the
she
last
was.
time she was, I hate that we want to use the word relevant, was 1998 when she recorded that song that was later used in the commercials for Windows XP. You know how long ago that was. So she hasn't been really relevant in 25 years. She has tried reinventing herself a few times, but I think the early ones maybe came off as genuine. But I remember, I think it was 2004, somewhere around there, she tried reinventing herself as like soccer mom or something, and she was singing about Pilates, and everybody started making fun of her.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
that's when it was over for her. So I will say, you know, she has made good music, but and you can go back to interviews from the 90s. Madonna is not a good person. Madonna is completely full of herself, completely narcissistic. Her interviews, even 40 years ago, are completely unwatchable. They're grating. She just comes off as awful. Um, and I think that's part of the problem. And I think it is true that as we get older, you know, you see it kind of like the mean girl philosophy. You know, you have the mean girls in high school. Yeah, look at what they look like 25 years later. I think it's that the personality does eventually start to show on the outside. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Madonna. And the fakeness may have something to do with it. Um, but there are some people that are so high in themselves, and she was very young. I think she was 19, uh, or maybe 19 or 20 when she first started to appear kind of on the mainstream. I think so. She hasn't really. She's had people adoring her for decades, almost half a century at this point. So it's fed the narcissism. And unfortunately, with people like this, normal people who aren't completely self obsessed will say, you know, I'm getting old. I'm like me. It's like my hair is falling out. Okay, whatever. You know, you don't focus on that. But when your entire identity is your image, and that's all it has been for her, and I think her visual appearance has played a big part of that, you're in your 60s.
Yeah,
And I when I see especially older people, it is true with men, but I think it's more common with women. When I see and when I lived in some of the when I lived in southern Ontario, especially in a city that has a lot of wealthy people, you would see a lot of this with women over 50, and you could tell the ones that had a lot of work done. And immediately I was repulsed because I could tell, okay, I could tell just by looking at you what kind of person you are, and I want nothing to do with you, unless, you know, you've had an accident and you have to, you know, do something there. That's something completely different. But no, it's plastic surgery. It's a sign of narcissism. And you can see some of these Hollywood and music types, what they look like now because they're desperate to hold on to it. And I'm sorry, no plastic surgeon can hide that. You know, you're 64, you know, you either look 64 or you look like an alien. She is closer to looking like an alien. And again, I think she would probably look a lot better if she had not had plastic surgery and just aged normally, like, you know, normal people that can't afford that stuff would. And it's the same thing. I think who was Gwen Stefani. I think I saw a picture of her recently, and good God, the same thing has happened with her. And there's a few others where it's like, just no. And then you have males that do this too, like Mickey
Simon
Rourke comes to.
Cowell, there's a picture of Simon Cowell, Chris, who works on the X Factor and stuff like that. He's got some work done as well, and he put a photograph up of himself as well, and he looks got awful. It doesn't. The plastic surgery is not the answer. You're absolutely right, but go on. What other male stars were you going to mention anyway? But Simon Cowell is one.
Chris Burgess. So he's 25. Could have sworn she was younger, although maybe it was before. I don't know. I'm just I'm confused on the ageism. But yeah, no, Mickey Rourke is another example of this. Someone, he was a pinup boy in the 80s. Yeah, he's actually probably one of the most extreme examples. So that it's not merely a female thing; it's a male and female thing. It's a narcissism thing, and like, I'm sorry, that's how things go. That's why if you're only focusing on appearance, you're in for a nightmare. I think we discussed this last week.
There she is in 2005. I mean, there in 2005, she still looks amazing. I mean,
you can tell though, even by then, she's had work done. But it doesn't look as insane. I'm like, well, Michael Jackson actually is probably the best example of this. Although the one thing is the white skin, that is something that you can't hold against, because it's actually in his autopsy report.
Yeah, that
he did have the skin condition. So I'm not talking about bleaching his skin, but I'm talking about everything else he did. He's another extreme example. Which, look what the poor guy looked like later in life. He looked like an alien.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2013, you can definitely tell that's a heavily photoshopped image. I don't know, but
that was in 2020, so that's when she was 62. So that was her 62, and that was her in 2013. Like, completely different.
Also, that was her Instagram. Look at how washed out that picture. Go back up to the other one. Look at how washed out that picture is, Noel. Yeah, that tells you something right there. Then go back down to the naughty picture. When did you take that?
And there she is back in her heyday. I mean, she was a beautiful woman.
2021.
Oh, that was 2021. Holy moly, that's only 2 years ago.
No, wow. Taken heavily photoshopped, taken from a specific angle. Not the naughty angle.
Probably there she is now. So she put that up in 2022. I mean, God.
I'm like, well, no, have some damn self-respect. Like, you're 64, act like it. I'm like, you're turning yourself into a joke.
And that was her at the Grammys. That was the picture then at the Grammys. So this was her in April 2022, and this was the picture of her at the Grammys. And she tried to blame. She actually tried to blame a camera lens.
It's a mental illness. I'm like, and narcissism comes to it. I think it could be a degree of psychopathy, which is very common amongst entertainers, and I think there's indications that she's got a touch of that too. I think she deluded herself into thinking, look at me, I'm so hot. And then she came out, and I'm like, reality sets in, and I think reality has set in. I'm like, no, you look ridiculous. And again, not a male or female thing. It's a money narcissism thing.
Yeah, it is sad, though, to watch her decline happen on social media and the work, because obviously we're better connected now. I mean, clearly she does have mental issues. You're right, it is a mental health issue. I mean, look, she's trying to hang on to something. And as you said, this doesn't just affect female celebrities, it affects male celebrities as well. But they just want to hang on to their youth. I'm sorry, but we all grow old. And do you know what? Sometimes when you get older, you end up being actually more you could end up being even more attractive as you get older. I've noticed with my family, when we're younger, we're horrible little things, but when we get older, we're very attractive family. So
Well,
sometimes it's
first
just
of
best
all,
to let nature take its course.
here's what it's the type of person you are is what comes out when you're older, and and I'm sure a lot of people have seen this. We're in our mid 40s.
Yeah,
I see people that I knew in high school 30 years ago, and you have the young women who were not very nice people, to put it mildly, who were makeup obsessed. They look like they're 65 now, and it's the
yeah,
same thing. Yet you have men or males, or well, teenage boys at that point, or teenage men, whatever the hell you want to call them, that were also image obsessed. They are the ones that are bald and 100 pounds overweight now. So I think it rings true. And the people that were genuinely good people, nice people, they look perfectly respectable now. So I've seen it in real time. And I think it's true. I think the type of person you are, eventually the outside starts to match the inside. And I think that might be the case. Well, I think that is the case with Madonna and many other people.
yeah. Anyway, let's move on to a topic that you wanted to do. That's why I wanted to get all the other stuff
Oh, yeah.
out of the way.
Everybody's allowed to cancel me.
So, obviously, no, no. Are we getting confused? Which news are you on about? I'm on about Star Trek Picard now. Like,
I said, what did I can't even remember which ones we were
yeah,
talking about. Give me a second.
yeah.
Well, I got to go
I'll
back
give
because
you
I
a
sent you
second.
this stuff, but I got so
While
distracted.
you're doing that, I'll read some other comments.
Oh wait,
Out.
no, we already talk about Star Wars? Yeah, we did.
We did with
Yeah, we did.
Wikipedia, yeah, but I think you wanted to elaborate on that, did you?
No, no,
No.
I just, it's just funny.
Right,
Um,
PD turn around says Tom Cruise looks better for his age than Madonna does. Yeah, but Tom Cruise, let's be honest, Tom Cruise has probably got some work done. There's a difference with getting some work done and getting your whole face reconstructed like Madonna has.
well, Tom Cruise is also, well, he's got, this is somebody who obviously has genetics working in his favor,
Yeah,
but
true.
he's also a health nut.
Yeah, he does.
Like
He loves his,
this is a
yeah.
dude that at 60 is still doing his own
His own
stunts and doing stunts
stunts.
for fun.
Listen, I finally, before we move on, I finally got into the whole Mission Impossible franchise because I originally stopped at Mission Impossible
Don't
3,
judge it after the second
right?
one. Your best, and
No, no, no.
somebody.
The second one, yeah, the James Will one, right? I have to say something about that one, right? The second one, when that was originally released, I loved it. Right, I did. I loved the style of camera work. I just loved the scene where Tom Cruise walks in, Ethan Hunt walks in, and your woman, what's her name, Tasman, whatever her name is now. She's obviously, we've been saying her name wrong for years. She's in it and she's beautiful. She's in a red dress, and then there's dancing happening, and the camera slows down. I loved all of that shit, but then I recently watched it again because, as I said, I started the Mission Impossible franchise off from the very beginning, and I got to the second movie, and I was bored shitless. And I was saying to myself, did I really like this back in the day? The third one is awesome, but after the third one, right, the movies just go off the charts, and they are brilliant. I cannot wait for the last one. It's obviously being split in two. But I cannot wait for that. He was actually on an aeroplane a couple of weeks ago, sending a message to his fans, telling them, thanks for watching these movies. Like, that man is I don't care about his Scientology stuff, right? I really don't, right? What he does in his own private time is his own business. But when it comes to his movies, for me, Tom Cruise is a living fucking legend. He's
For
one of the
decades now.
last of his kind. How it's a pity because the type of movies that he does are not Oscar movies. But by God, that man, in my opinion, should be given an Oscar. Right? He is absolutely top level. And to be still top level at the age that he is, Chris is right, 60 odd years of age, and he's still at the top of his game.
Let me put this in perspective. He has been at the top of the A list, and I think he's one of the few genuine movie stars, even though he does have his issues and he doesn't need to do this for money. But he's been at the top of the game through the 80s, through the 90s, through the 2000s, through the 2010s. Now we're in the 2020s, and he's probably the biggest star on the planet, largely considered to be the last of the movie
He is.
stars.
He's the last because Bruce Willis has had to retire. And I still had a lot of time for Bruce Willis and his movies, even though he's done some shit because they're straight to Blu-ray release. But I've watched them, just for him. Now, in fairness, he's in the movies, but he doesn't really say much of that. And now we kind of know why he never really did in his movies, because obviously he's got that brain.
Well, no, his was completely different. Oh, yeah, and I want to address Chris Persia's question too.
Yeah,
give a quick explanation.
I'm thinking of getting that game. I'm thinking of buying that game myself, just for the fact that there's so much complaint. But I've seen videos of it, and it looks like the type of game that I actually would play.
Or do you want to highlight his message?
Oh yeah, where he asks
what
you,
we're talking about.
Yeah, if you're going to review, I seen that. Yeah, if you're going to review.
Well, here's the thing. I'm only a casual gamer, but here's where I am with gaming right now. I will be playing it, but at the moment, because I have a little puppy who's she's now 10 months old, but she has to be supervised. So I'm not going to be going back to any of my video gaming until she's a little bit older. And I can play the game and not worry about her, eating the wall.
Yeah, that's why we're going to try get these streams done in just under 2 hours, folks, every Friday, because Chris obviously looking after. Come on.
So my plan is, I have two game consoles. I've got a Xbox, an Xbox One S and a PS4 Slim. And I do have a computer that is gaming capable, but I'm not gaming at my computer. I don't want to sit in my office any more than I have to, because this is where I get a lot of my work done. So so I've been debating whether or not, because I'm going to save up later on this year to get myself finally a new console. I am debating between Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5.
Can I just say something about those two consoles? People are giving out about them right now because there's not many options on them. I'm holding back. I still have my PlayStation 4. I haven't even thought about getting a PlayStation 5 yet until there's any more releases, because the games that they're releasing, there's not many right now. It's like they released this generation but didn't have games ready to go for that generation. So it's like when they actually originally brought out the PS.
There's a game that's swaying me, because I've been mad at PlayStation ever since the Last of Us 2 debacle. But they have come out with one of my favorite games of all time is Dead Space. And they've, for PS5, they have redone Dead Space 1, and I think they might be redoing Dead Space 2.
Yeah,
so that's the first thing that's really piqued my interest. But also, I use my my game system is now my streaming device, so I use it for that too. So I don't use my my DVD player or my DVD player, 4K player. But I am now leaning towards PlayStation 5 for that. And I think there aren't a lot of exclusives now, although Xbox does own everything. I will end up eventually, probably like last time, owning them both. But for the first outing, and mainly because I want to play that Dead Space game, when I do save up enough, it's probably going to be a PS5. Even though it looks like a naughty part, and I think it's the dumbest looking console that's ever come out ever. So I'm hoping that they will do one of their mid-generation redesigns, but I don't think that'll come up this time. So I like the look of the I like the look of the Xbox, because it doesn't look like if you look at what the PS3 looks at, it looks like a lady part. That's all I'm saying.
No, the Xbox or the PlayStation 5 design has had criticisms.
Oh, it's awful. It's horrific.
It is actually bad. That's the other thing that's kind of put me off buying it. It just looks like that if you bought it, it would break in your hand. It doesn't look that sturdy. Whereas the Xbox One is literally a box.
It's a rectangle.
But in fairness, though, I mean, these generations it's going to get, the technology is going to get more and more advanced. So
I
these
just well,
consoles are
no,
going to
it's
start.
for me. It's I want to play that Dead Space game.
Yeah, but they're going to start. These consoles are going to start morphing into kind of like PC territory, you know. So it's, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I never answered Chris's question. So yes, I will be getting the which I know it's on X. It's actually double check how much that is on PlayStation.
Yeah, I
Oh
still have my PlayStation 3. People are
yeah, so do
saying,
I.
yeah, yeah. So,
I'm just
PD Rich has
checking
his
one.
PSX and his PS. What was that? PS3 as well, was it, or two? I was seeing someone
Oh, I've
else
got
has a
a,
PS2.
PS2, a PS3, a PS5.
Yeah, I used to have them all, but when I
Yeah,
was,
well, no, it's no, but I do plan on because I just actually I finally discovered Harry Potter 2 years ago, literally, or just a little over 2 years ago,
yeah, you were
after
saying that,
avoiding
yeah.
it. So no, I actually Hogwarts Legacy, from what I've seen of that game, is also another thing that is pushing me towards next console gaming. So I will be getting that too. Will I do a review of it? I may mention it on a stream, but I don't do videos anymore, so that's highly unlikely. But I will at some point on a stream give my thoughts on it.
Some people are just, yeah. The technology did morph into PC technology with the Force Xbox. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not very tech savvy, so thanks for correcting me on that. Did look like a bit of an idiot, all right, didn't I? My PS2 still works. My PS3 still works. I just need to get a new controller for it, but it still works. But I have all my games down on my hard drive, and I have the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended cut of each movie on that as well. I actually have Edge of Tomorrow because someone mentioned that movie with Tom Cruise. That movie should have made more money. Someone said, I absolutely agree. I think that's a great movie. There's even talks, and there has been talks over the years for a second one. So we'll see if that happens because the talk keeps rumbling on. But Chris did want to talk about
Oh yeah, no. Here's
uh
the funny thing about your question in the our chat. I don't even remember what it is because it's been so long since I've used that console. I may actually be setting up a new one.
say that again. Sorry, the wife walked in.
Oh no, your question in the chat. I don't know what my handle is because it's been so long since I've used it, and I switched over to Xbox very quickly. But I'll probably have to set up a new one when I set up the new system anyway.
Grant, because it's cross-platform now, so I'll be able to add you anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, that's good. That's good. Right. Anyway, you wanted to get into Star Trek Picard. Now, season 3 obviously is the final one, and we've seen a couple of the trailers, and it looks like the next gen cast are coming back for one last hurrah. So, I've just looked here, and I see that 2 episodes have apparently already dropped for season 3. So, Chris, you're
Wait, have they
obviously,
dropped already? That wasn't supposed to drop until next week. Give me a sec,
well,
Cole.
well, I see it here on Amazon.
Oh yeah, you have it on Amazon. Give me 1 second here, folks.
Anyway, thank you, love. Right, good night. I love you.
Sucks.
No, no, okay. Oh, the missus is not happy apparently.
Uh-oh, what'd you do?
I don't know.
Wait, why isn't it oh, you little bastards. About I don't care what's about. Sorry, folks, I'm just fighting with my crappy streaming service. Yes, more. Well, what
Hold
happened to
on.
season 3? It was supposed to be on just a sec. Because we're in this kind of in because we have Paramount Plus and Crave, which has the Picard streaming rights. Just a minute here. Sign up for Paramount Plus. I don't want to sign up. I want to see what you got, you bastards. Nobody wants your discovery. You're just hearing me complain in the background, folks. Just a minute.
We'll let you. We'll let you. We'll let you. We'll let you.
Plus Picard
Oh, that Whitney
Canada,
Houston
because I know it's
movie,
supposed to be on. Yeah, February 16th is still the date that I've got. But did you guys get it before us?
Well, there's 2 episodes according to that on Amazon. It says new, so that obviously means that they're there.
Yeah, as you guys get it on Amazon, we've gotten it on Crave. We weren't supposed to have it until the 16th, but now I'm not seeing anything for Picard season 3 on our crappy streaming service, even though we were supposed to have it. TV shows, come on, you bastard. Recently added. Oh, this is a horrible streaming service. It's like every category is like woke. Yeah, so it hasn't been added yet. So just a minute. I'm going to if I drop out here for a second, I just want to see what's going on in the UK version of the thing. Because you would have the same streaming service as the UK, I believe. I'm playing with my VPN right now. Where are you? Search UK. God damn it. There we go. Okay. I'm temporarily moving to London.
Anyway, they are there because there's been a few articles about it. It'll be interesting to see how when it's on general release everywhere, how people are gonna react to this because next generation fans, obviously that was my era that I grew up with as well, but a lot of next generation fans are not particularly too pleased that the cast have come back for the 3rd season of Picard, because obviously if you have watched Picard at the end of season 1, well, let's just say they destroyed the character of Picard. So there's always been a bit of a backlash since that 4th series of Picard. A lot of people I have watched to say that the 2nd series was actually decent, but I've never just had the 4th season left such a sour taste in my mouth. I didn't bother watching the 2nd season. I will say when the trailer for the 3rd season came out, when the very first trailer came out, I actually did comment and say that I thought the trailer looked very impressive. But again, will Kurtzman and co do this justice? Now, Strange New World's got a bit of credit, but we've got to make the point that Alex Kurtzman was not the head writer on that show.
I'm back for my investigations, Noel. Star Trek Picard is streaming on Paramount Plus internationally, with the exception of Canada. So the premiere date here is still the 16th, and it's going to be on our crappy Crave streaming service.
Well, at least you still get it. But anyway, is anybody looking forward to this 3rd season? And yeah, you wanted to talk about it, Chris. So what's obviously you did watch the 4th season, didn't you? Like us.
Well, now that I've been I was sidetracked for a while thinking I had missed it. So here's my my overview on Picard. So the 1st season was an absolute disgrace. And it was one that I was initially looking forward to, and it briefly at the beginning for like the first 5 minutes looked like it was going to be something good, but then it turned into current year, and suddenly the Federation has become Donald Trump's America, the way anti-Trumpists view it, and that's all it was. Also, it was a message about Brexit. And Captain Picard kept getting yelled at, and he was playing. Patrick Stewart was playing a completely different character. It was awful, just terrible, awful characters across the board. Nothing likable about it. Season 2 ended up being even worse, and also we were all hoodwinked because for the first episode, it actually looked like, and I think a lot of us said this at the time, I'm like, wow, this looks like they may have learned their lesson. This looks good. This looks like it might be good. Then it ended up being the worst thing Star Trek has ever put out because it ended up being current year in current year, well, 2024, and it was the most leftist, anti everything toxic or pro everything talks. It was awful. It was a political nightmare, and we all learned that we are evil and we're also privileged, and it was just a dumpster fire. We can't go into everything that's wrong about season 2 without doing a 8-hour stream on season 2. But let's just say Star Trek goes full current year, and it's awful. So after season 2, it was similar to how I dropped out of the STD of things after the beginning of its third season. I had no intention of watching the third season. And then they had the ads come out. We're like, oh, the Next Generation crew is going to be back. I'm like, oh my God, they're actually going to completely poop on what's left of the Next Generation. Because to be honest, I haven't really been able to watch Next Generation since Picard season 1. So that's 3 years now. So I was going to give this one a pass. But then people who had been given early access, including reviewers whose opinions I actually trust, were saying, no, this actually is good. And one is Dave Cullen, who's actually getting a lot of I tweeted about this earlier. I've gotten a little bit of flack, but not much. But Dave Cullen, who, if you know, also known as Computing Forever, is probably one of the most honest people you will meet in content creation. He's also a main reason why both Gary Nerdrotic and I took off, because he gave us both a shout out. So I also owe Dave a big thanks for, a lot of the success I had when I was doing YouTube. So Dave had been hinting at that it was decent, but then he put out a video, which I think he put it out yesterday. It was either yesterday or early today, where he said, no, actually he was given review screening copies of the first 6 episodes. And he said, no, this actually is really good. This is a return to Star Trek. He gave a non-spoiler review, and I'm like, this sounds good. He's like, not only is it as good as the Next Generation, but it actually takes some of these characters to a whole new level. And even Raffi, who is completely unlikable, they've even redone her character in this, and apparently she's actually likable now. It's and Kurtzman, his name is still executive producer, but he's not showrunner on this anymore. It's people that actually know what they're doing. And what Dave said is actually something that has me intrigued. So it's not Kurtzman Trek.
That's what I mean, Chris. We have to make the point, though. Everybody keeps calling it Kurtzman Trek, and let's be honest. Yes, Star Trek Discovery is his, but if you look at the Star Trek
the first
shows,
2 seasons of Picard,
yeah. But if you look at the shows that are actually doing well, he's not writing any of them. For example, as I said, Strange New Worlds, he doesn't have. I would even go as to say, and I know it's a cartoon, but I'd say Star Trek Prodigy, not the other feckin' cartoon, but Star Trek Prodigy is actually decent Star Trek. If people gave it a go, it's some of the best Star Trek that you'll actually see. So in fairness, and that he has nothing to do with, seems to do well. Now, if you're saying that he has nothing to do with season 3, well, then I would be a little bit more optimistic about that because I thought Strange New Worlds was actually decent. It's the best thing that we've had in a long time, and I actually enjoyed those episodes. I really did. So I would give it, yeah. I mean, so what I would say is don't even watch season 1 and 2. And just watch this season, see what it's like, and forget. But the problem is that a lot of fans are not going to be able to forget what happened in the last 2 seasons. Whereas, okay, I only watched up until season 1. I didn't watch season 2.
Well, here's what they said. So I kept forgetting his name, but Terry Matalas is the actual showrunner. And he was involved in season 2, but he didn't have any creative control. Although he did have, I think visually, and in terms of just basically like running what he was directed to do. But what they've said about Picard is it's not Kurtzman Trek, so it's not like the first two seasons, and it's not like Discovery. But one thing that that Dave said that has me really curious is he says it's not like Berman era Star Trek either. This is
Wow.
something completely new. So they are subverting expectations, to use an unpopular term, but doing it in the right way. So what he's done is he has modernized the show, but not modernized in the way that we think when we hear modernization. So apparently, this is an entirely new run. And he's also said, Dave also said that Jonathan Frakes as Riker has been given the best material he's ever had to work with. So, and a few other reviewers have said this as well. So it sounds like this is like Twilight Zone stuff, because this series had been destroyed. But it sounds like it's some of the, not only the best Star Trek that we've had since real Star Trek went off the air in 05, but possibly some of the best Star Trek we've ever had.
Could Picard set off a chain of events where, if this is done well, we've already had Strange New Worlds do well? Do you think this might be the start of a shift? Maybe people realizing that Kurtzman maybe isn't the best man to be overseeing all of this, and let the writers themselves actually express themselves. And obviously, as you said, bring in people that know what they're actually doing, know the lore, understand the canon.
Well, that's what Metalis is. He is a Star Trek fan. He is one of us. And I think that's already been proven. It's not just Kurtzman, it's Goldsman, it's Siobhan. They've all got to go.
Yeah.
Like the whole lot of them. And the problem is, for the Renaissance, you still have Discovery, and that show is such a mess with such unlikable characters and just miscast across the board. You can't do anything with that. And as far as I know, there is still one more season, at least, if not more, of that Drek coming out. But no, as soon as Kurtzman's involvement Kurtzman and Clown's involvement is diminished. And this was done behind the scenes with Strange New Worlds, because you can tell with the casting, behind the scenes, control was ripped from him. That's why
Strange New Worlds. Spock, even the guy that plays Spock is completely different to the Spock that everybody hated in Strange New Worlds.
Because it was well written. And it's the same thing, I think, with Raffi might be another example of this, where she was completely unlikable during the previous two seasons. But from what I've read, she's written well this time. She has an extended arc with one of the long-term TNG cast members. And apparently they've almost completely rewritten her character the same way they did with Ethan Peck Spock. And really, I think the Anson Mounts Pike was also, it was Mount's charisma that carried it through season 2, but it was badly written. But with that charisma and being well written, then you end up with Strange New World. So I think Star Trek might be able to turn itself around. And I know there's another question that will come up for me personally that I will answer right now. And that question will be, well, if you are willing to give Star Trek another chance, why aren't you willing to give that certain British show a chance? I'll tell you my reasons for it right now.
Well, you said that you'll give it a go.
Well, that's what I said. I said I will watch it.
You've been fair.
I've gone as far as to say I will watch it.
Yeah, you said you'll give it a go. So I think you actually are being fair. I think you are willing to give it a go to see if it can store those emotions up that you had when you used to originally watch Doctor Who. So I think you're being a bit unfair on yourself, because you are willing to give it a go.
I have to contextualize it properly, because my anger towards Star Trek was minuscule, really, compared to my hatred towards that British show. And there's a very good reason for it. And it's one of the reasons why I will probably never be a fan of the new British show again, even if I can maybe on some level appreciate what's going forward. And it has to do with the fandoms of both series. Now, Star Trek, it did have its Drekkies, but to be honest, they were a vocal minority. real Star Trek fans and real Star Trek still really existed through this.
Yeah, they did. They were able to they were louder. They were able to get their voices out louder than the small minority. Where in the Doctor Who fandom, we couldn't because they were aided by other people.
Well, in that British show, and it's the fandom and just how nasty the fandom was, and just the awful things I've seen done and said in the name of this show.
Yeah,
over the last 5 years, where it wasn't like that with Star Trek, and also the certain
you're
show
right.
Me was a lot more personal. So Star Trek, I think, because even though I covered it, I never got that involved with the fandom. Although Wilson Cruz did block me on Twitter. Well, I also made fun of him, so we had it out. But for Star Trek, it was minimal. I did some stories. I covered. I did my parody reviews of some of the episodes.
Yeah.
But I had very little involvement with the Trekkies because they were a vocal minority.
Yeah.
In Doctor Who, it was incessant for years. And that's why I think, oh, damn, I just mentioned the name of the show.
I know you did. It doesn't matter.
But yeah, I think it's because I associate the show with those people is why I can never be a fan of it again. I can watch it. I can maybe appreciate it for not being terrible. I'll never be a fan of the show again. Not after that. Which is funny because for the longest time, I've never really been focused on both franchises at the same time.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was a young kid, I was focused on Doctor Who. Then when Doctor Who goes off the air, I was a Star Trek fan obsessively. From probably the third season of TNG, which coincides with the cancellation of Doctor Who by a matter of only months. They were both 1989. So I'd say from 1989, I was TNG, even though I grew up with Star Trek, I was like completely Star Trek obsessed from 89 until 2005 to when it went off the air. Then the cancellation of Star Trek and the return of that British show. The British show returned in March. Star Trek ended in May. So literally almost exactly down to the time my allegiance shifted back to that British show. Until a few years ago. Now that I'm no longer a fan of that British show, I'm shifting back towards Star Trek. So it's like history. I don't know, maybe it's just the way things work out, but I've never been obsessed with both shows at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it's just the way things work out.
But no, it is. Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. It is going to be interesting to see what happens with that show that you don't want to mention, but we got one more topic to actually talk about, and then we can wrap it up if you want, because I know you want to look.
So that topic,
I know you want to look
we
after
have to cancel Noel.
But excuse me, dry
Dude,
throat.
I'm losing my voice too. I don't know what it is.
I've done. This is my second stream today, so I'm a bit.
Yes, but bottom line for what we were just talking about. So I am, and I know some people will say bad things to me. I don't care. I am actually now excited for Picard season 3.
I thought the trailer, I have to be honest, Chris, I thought the trailer was very impressive. I think that trailer hooked a lot of people. I was hooked after that trailer, I have to be honest. It did look really impressive. And it was nice to see the original crew back. And it did. I have to say, that trailer did stir up some emotion with me. I have to be honest.
Excited. No, this is the odd thing. So for my new shows, which would be, I'll call it by name: Doctor Who, Star Trek, The X-Files.
I love The X-Files.
I haven't been this excited for something to actually see something since The X-Files came back, and unfortunately, that was a disappointment.
Yeah.
But with Star Trek, even when Discovery was announced, it was kind of a non-issue with me because even from out of the gate, things looked very bad and it just kept getting worse. I haven't been excited for a season premiere of anything in years. Although I am excited for this, and I am excited for season 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and actually would have been excited for season 2 of Peacemaker, but apparently that's on the dumping bin now.
I might do reviews of Picard season 3 if I end up watching it myself.
I won't do Sliders. God help us if Sliders ever comes back. Oh wait, didn't it come back? I know they're talking
about Sliders coming back.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
I have to be honest. Again, I think what's his face is not involved. So I've no interest. I don't know sliders. If sliders, when I look back, it's kind of aged badly now, and I suppose that's what the
Sliders is of its
charm.
time. It's
But
of its time.
but it is of its. I do agree with you. I don't
It
think you could
Quantum
replicate
Leap, I
sliders
refuse.
now.
I refuse to watch Quantum Leap. I
Oh,
have
I've
no
watched
interest in
that.
watching that
I'm
remake.
gonna be honest. I gave it a go. I'm gonna be on. They give it their best shot. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. There's still good. The story still have that heart. There's
I
throwback.
just it's not
There's
something I wanted to
throwbacks,
see
but
back.
the only thing about it is that this is how I got 4 episodes in, and then I decided I needed a break, and I haven't went back to it. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, if it was that good, and I thought it was that good, why haven't I went back to watch
It's
the other
no, it's Quantum Leap is
episodes?
of its
So
time, and it doesn't work without Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell.
yeah,
And Dean
I know.
Stockwell is not with us anymore.
I've been watching the old Quantum Leap. That's the
I've
thing,
got
though.
the remastered Blu-ray set
Yeah.
from Mill Creek. Looks awesome, and the full HD restoration. But anyways, I'm going to shut up on that now, so I'm not the one that makes us go over.
Right. So this is the last thing. Obviously, The Mandalorian is coming out, and a new poster obviously dropped on Empire magazine as soon as it pops up on the screen, which it should do any second now.
Are you still using the Chromebook?
Yes, I am still using the
dear.
same computer.
That's why it's
Yeah,
very grumpy.
Cheryl was able to update hers. I have to wait now. But Cheryl was able to update hers. So there's the poster for Mandalorian. So we've got baby Guru there. I still call him Baby Yoda. Some people are debating whether he should have come back or not. I
thought
mean,
they
the
were
whole
done with
thing.
that.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it originally started. That's what Mando how it started about. I would find it a bit weird if he wasn't in it. To be quite honest with you, and I was kind of gutted when he did leave with Luke Skywalker. So for me, I'm actually glad he's back, but I could regret that. But I am looking forward to this. It's the only Star Wars show that I've actually enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what your opinions actually are on this show, Chris, but I'm actually enjoying it now. I will say from the point of view, as I said, I've watched all the movies and stuff like that. I've played a couple of the games and stuff like that, but I'm not a fan. I'm more of a Trekkie, to be quite honest with you, than I wouldn't class myself as a Star Wars fan. So as a non-Star Wars fan, I'm enjoying The Mandalorian. Where about yourself?
Is there a snooze option here for a sound effect? Star Wars is one of those there's 3 franchises that I'm pretty much checked out on. One is that British show. One is the MCU, and the other is Star Wars. I can't get into it anymore. I have tried. Last year I made it partway through Obi-Wan, and it was just a
Oh, I
bastardization of
haven't
that
watched
character and
Obi-Wan.
the
I mean,
trilogy.
we tried to Boba Fett as
Uh,
well. I think
no,
me and
I
Cheryl
Boba
watched
Fett.
3 episodes of that.
I lasted 1 episode. I was bored to tears.
Yeah.
I tried what's his face, the other one. So actually, yeah, I watched that I watched the first 3 episodes
Yeah.
for
But
Dan's
that's what I'm
stream, and I
saying. I
couldn't
think
stay
out of the
awake.
whole lot of them, though, Mandalorian has a little bit more about it, to be
I'm
quite
just
honest with
not in.
you.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I have such little time to watch shows now, especially with TV shows. I'm very selective, and actually, a lot of what
Yeah,
I watch is older stuff.
you'd rather watch things that you know that you're going to enjoy
Like
rather than watch.
I am getting a
Yeah.
little bit into The Last of Us. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's okay. I'm watching that. Uh, There's something else that just came out recently that I wanted to see.
Yeah,
Now I can't
actually,
remember what it was.
before we do wrap up, do your recommendation. So you've recommended The Last of Us. You're saying it's not great, but you're sticking with it at the moment.
I'm saying it's watchable,
Yeah,
but if they go near that second game, no. Um, I would say I'm watching it. It's watchable.
yeah,
You season 3 came out. I'm actually interested to see that, even though it is Netflix. Creepy dude is just so creepy. I may want to
yeah.
watch that. It is kind of worth watching. I'm trying to think of. There was something else that came out, and now I can't remember what it was that I wanted to watch. But there's just so little. So with Star Wars, I guarantee I'll be bored, and I don't have the attention span.
Yeah.
There's other things I'd want to watch instead. Although what I actually have been watching lately, Noel, I have gone back to watching House. Remember House, Cranky Doctor?
Yeah, yeah,
It was my favorite show in the 2000s. I barely watched it since it went off air. And then earlier on today, I'm like, you know what? I haven't watched this forever, so I put in my DVD star with actually season 3. I forgot how good that show is. So
yeah. It's
I'm
actually a decent show.
yep.
Yeah, yeah,
So Hugh Laurie for the win. Actually, I
yeah,
know Hugh Laurie did some other show where he played a different kind of doctor, which got canceled. I might check that out too. But no, so my retro recommendation is House. But specifically the early seasons. I would say the first 5
yeah,
are what you want to watch. Season 6, it's not as good. Season 7 drops off even more. Season 8 was god awful, which is why I have respect for Hugh Laurie, because they were going to offer him like Seinfeld levels of money per episode. But he's like, no, the show's run its course. We're ending it. Um, but the first 5 are absolutely brilliant.
yeah, yeah. I'd agree with that
Actually,
analysis.
watch the first 7. Don't watch season 8. It's a completely different tone, completely different characters for the most part. It's not good. But I'd watch the first 7. Just pretend the show ended at the end of season 7, and you're fine.
That's it. That's it. Right, we'll wrap up there because Chris has to go and look after his puppy.
Oh,
Because
actually, mystery Who Dis. I'm not going to say who Dis is, although Who Dis is somebody I know.
yeah,
That DVD that I was watching had actually been gifted to me by Mystery Who Dis. I actually owned it twice, but I have the original release, and then I put in the second release, which is I found it as a remastered that I may or may not have gotten from Who Dis. And here's the thing, Noel. I ended up ordering the region free complete series on Blu-ray, so I'm going to be rewatching the whole season. But Who Dis, who keeps showing up
yeah.
in
Thank you
things,
for the support.
and Noel knows who Dis is, and Dan, the host of my other regular stream, knows who Dis is. But Who Dis is a mystery. The person who eventually guesses it will win a pizza. I'll mail it to you.
Yeah, stale pizza from Chris from Cultivated Media. And here, actually, I wanna leave. I was gonna show 2 videos.
Oh yeah, and I need to watch Arcane. Okay, I will say this: I will watch Arcane this weekend. Noel, remind me.
Fantastic. Yes, I will remind you. But I want to Ice T put up a tweet during the week, and I want to leave with this because it's something funny. So while I'm getting this video ready, I will get Chris to call out his social medias and tell everybody. Obviously, you've got another stream coming up with the Dan from the Space Book. So if you want to do that, Chris, I'll get this video prepped, and yeah, and then we'll leave it there. So do your shout outs there.
Oh yes, and Who Dis? Yes, I actually I'd forgotten about that too. So here I won't say who this is, but this person is somebody that I know in real life and on the interwebs. So this person actually gave me a box of DVDs and Blu-rays because this individual was moving and wanted to get rid of. I won't even say the gender there. physical media collection. And I had the box, so all the Blu-rays that I didn't already have in my collection were put away. But that original box is actually still there. It's upstairs in my spare room, which is largely storage. So I actually took it out of that box because I still have the DVDs of things I already have in that box. But yes, I actually got quite a few. I made a video about it, but you can't see it anymore because it's not on the channel anymore. But I did make a video going through that box. And what were you saying, Noel? I got distracted.
Your channel shout outs.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, so I am now just a streamer. Don't even bother with the old YouTube account. That's a graveyard now. So I am Chris from Cultivated Media. I do 2 weekly streams. I do this on Fridays, and I am on the Spacebook on Saturdays. And I haven't heard from Dan yet. I think we're doing it tomorrow. It's not. We don't do it every week. It depends on schedules, but I'll have to check with Dan. But we are probably doing it tomorrow, I think. So that will be on the thing, and that's all I do. And yes, and don't do videos anymore. Just do live streams because it's more fun and talking out of my ass on other people's channels.
Right. Well, you'll find me here Monday, New Who, 7 p.m. Tuesday, member streams. As you know, times will vary on them. Wednesdays, we're back with Classic Who's on at 6:30. The TARDIS Zone talks on a Friday at 5:45. And then here with Chris and Lee for Friday night contact. But I want to leave you with this video that Ice-T shared on his Instagram, on his Twitter account. It had me in stitches. This is the funniest thing that you'll ever see and hear.
God, I've seen this. Okay, yeah.
No, I've got to play this for you because this is I think this is the best way to end the stream tonight on a bit of a funny note. So we'll get that banner out of the way. So without further ado, I give you the news from Trinidad and Tobago.
In Trinidad and Tobago believe they can build a rocket to go to the sun. Scientists in the United States said it is impossible that a rocket cannot go to the sun, it will be melted. The scientists of Trinidad and Tobago said they are not going in the day, they are going in the night.
Well, it is darker at night, and the sun isn't hot at night because the sun goes away in the evening. Now here's the thing: was that serious or is that a parody?
I think that's a parody.
Yeah, it's got to be a parody.
Said it was a parody,
people are pretty stupid now.
Charo said it's a parody. Yeah, it's a parody. You do
well, honestly, no. These days you can't tell anymore.
No.
You literally can't tell. But I was drinking my coffee the first time I saw that, no, there could be some logic because if you go at the nighttime, it's colder. You don't have, the rays aren't coming down.
Oh, get away.
But no, it's like literally, I would be surprised if that was serious because I have seen things that are just as ridiculous as that recently claimed as truth.
Oh, I tell you, that was something else. Anyway, they do other videos as well where they do football scores, soccer scores for you Americans and Canadians out there. You should check them out. They're on YouTube. They're absolutely funny, hilarious. Tried to say some of the team names. Obviously, it's a comedy and a piss take, but it's so funny. But we're gonna wrap it up there. Don't forget. I thought actually before we leave, I thought poor Daniel was banned off Twitter, but it turns out because I wasn't on Twitter yesterday that much that Twitter actually completely blacked out or something, along with other social
Daniel,
media.
you got yourself banned. Congratulations, man.
No, we didn't. There was a glitch on Twitter. There was Twitter was down apparently, but I didn't know because I don't really spend much time on Twitter anymore.
Remember that time I got banned for bullying the BBC?
Yeah.
Badge of honor.
Anyway, there's some interesting news for you there. Poor Daniel thought he was banned. I was going to say, well, you've earned your stripes, but there you go. It was a false alarm anyway, but yeah,
It's okay.
Twitter's gone crazy.
Daniel, as long as you got yourself banned by Wikipedia, all is good. Then you're in the ban club.
That's it. That's it. You're in the ban club. I'd just like to thank PD Rich and Chris Persia because the guys have been throwing in all of the links in all of the other streams as well that we do and making sure that the chat is safe for everybody. I will see you all next week. Obviously, we don't stream on Saturday. Might be doing a spaces with Noel Clark. We don't know if that's happening, but that'll be Sunday night if that does happen. We'll be back here on Monday. So enjoy our weekend. Stay safe. And until then, we will see you. And yeah, as I said, there's nothing else to really say. We could be all dead. Valentine's Day apparently is next week. Well, it's not as if we give two flying fucks about Valentine's Day now, love. You know, it's.
I still expect to be treated like a princess.
You will be treated like a princess. I'll make you your breakfast in bed at first, and then.
Isn't it Pancake Tuesday too?
Pancake Tuesday as well. Oh, Jesus, it's all coming at once. Well, I'm going to be busy next week with pancakes and making sure that my wife feels loved for one day.
You're blocked by Star Wars Theory, Daniel. Everybody's blocked by Star Wars Theory. I didn't even do anything to them.
Yeah, I think everybody was blocked by association as well, which seems to happen on social media. But we'll leave it there anyway. No point of mentioning assholes
causing the drama.
Yeah, I mean,
Daniel, I blame you.
In fairness, if people are that weak, let them. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it now. Anyway, good night, folks. We'll see you next week. Same time, 9:00. Plenty to talk about, as we always do. I hope you are enjoying these. Leave a comment. Let us know if there's anything you'd like me, Chris, and Lee to actually cover in the comment section there. And I will take a look and see if anybody makes any suggestions, and we will cover it. All right. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.